The Story of Manus, shortened from West Highland Tales. Far away over the sea of the west there reigned a king who had 2 sons, and the name of the one was Oirel, and the name of the other was Irlaid. When the boys were still children, their father and mother died, and the great council was held, and a man was chosen from among them who would rule the kingdom till the boys were old enough to rule it themselves. The years passed on, and by another council was held, and it was agreed that the king's sons were now of an age to take the power which rightly belonged to them. So the youths were bidden to appear before the council, and Oirel the elder was smaller and weaker than his brother.
I like not to leave the deer on the hill and the fish in the rivers and sit in judgment on my people, said Oirel, when he had listened to the words of the chief of the council. And the chief waxed angry and answered quickly,
Not one clod of earth shall ever be yours, if this day you do not take on yourself the vows that were taken by the king your father.
Then spake Irlaid the younger, and he said, Let one half be yours, and the other give to me. Then you will have fewer people to rule over.
Yes, I will do that, answered Oirel. After this, 1/2 of the men of the land of Lochla did homage to Eirand, and the other half to Kierlid, and they governed their kingdoms as they would. And in a few years they became grown men with beards on their chins. And Eilid married the daughter of the king of Greece, and Eiril the daughter of the king of Orkney. The next year sons were born to Eiril and Eilid, and the son of Eiril was big and strong, but the son of Eirlid was little and weak, and each had 6 foster brothers who went everywhere with the princes.
One day Manus, son of Oirel, and his cousin, the son of Irlaid, called to their foster brothers. And they then come and play a game at Shinny in the great field near the school, where they were taught all that princes and nobles should know. Long they played, and swiftly did the ball pass from one to another, when Manus drove the ball at his cousin, the son of Irlaid. The boy, who was not used to be roughly handled, even in jest, cried out that he was sorely hurt, and went home with his foster brothers and told his tale to his mother. The wife of Irlaid grew white and angry as she listened, and thrusting her son aside, sought the council hall where Irlaid was sitting.
Manus has driven a ball at my son, and fain will have slain him, said she. Let an end be put to him and his ill deeds.
Boss, Eloi, hijo.
Nay, I will not slay the son of my brother. And he shall not slay my son, said the queen. And calling to her chamberlain, she ordered him to lead the prince to the 4 brown boundaries of the world, and to leave him there with a wise man who would care for him and let no harm befall him. And the wise man set the boy on the top of a hill where the sun always shone, and he could see every man, but no man could see him. Then she summoned Manus to the castle, and for a whole year she kept him fast, and his own mother could not get speech of him. But in the end, when the wife of Oirel fell sick, Manus fled from the tower, which was his prison, and stole back to his own home. For a few years he stayed there in peace, and then the wife of Irlaid, his uncle, sent for him. It is time that you were married, she said, when she saw that Manus had grown tall and strong like unto Irlaid. Tall and strong you are, and comely of face. I know a bride that will suit you well, and that is the daughter of the mighty Earl of Finged, that does homage for his lands to me. I myself will go with a great following to his house,
and you shall go with me.
When I naus na verserim, hatti maami to lik ma fadi herde, but ani the fair backamiran searcher, sati by a num zubris hard.
Ja, sjove.
Bara sperma tataplara sweet.
Answer next year. Byron. Answer it. Sick one so nothing on not for points of nothing. It's not into me. And on putting my empty wild teens. There, reaction. I think those limit were unfurged that exactly. And when listen, bro. Här är jag. För mig är jag keep on the air. If me bidon till fast att keep fat where. Kan det vara så jag binans resettle på så många där kan sägas tolkings except couldn't say good edge under the veiled balance to better under which sin the aid rock see about beyond suspicious to be one Thompson bro at his game is it migrate around dynasty see this is rectic so we hit or I'm tired you best never so shelling the
Is it thus? Answered Manu. And at the first streak of dawn, he went to the chamber where the queen lay in the midst of her maidens. I have come, he said, for the third part of the kingdom, and for the treasure which you promised me. But the wife of Yaled laughed as she heard him. Not a cloud shall you have here, spake she. You must go to the old Bergen for that. Mayhap under its stones and rough mountains you may find a treasure. Then give me your son's 6 foster brothers as well as my own, answered he. And the queen gave them to him, and they set out for old Bergen. A year passed by and found them still in that wild land, hunting the reindeer and digging pits for the mountain sheep to fall into. For a time Manus and his companions lived merrily, but at length Manus grew weary of the strange country, and they all took ship for the land of Lochley. The wind was fierce and cold, and long was the voyage, but one spring day they sailed into the harbor that lay beneath the castle of Yaleth. The queen looked from her window and beheld him mounting the hill with the 12 foster brothers behind him. Then she said to her husband, Manus has returned with his 12 foster brothers. Would that I could put an end to him and his murdering and his slaying. That were a great pity, answered Ealred, and it is not I that would do it. If you will not do it, I will, said she. And she called the 12 foster brothers and made them vow fealty to herself. So Manus was left with no man, and sorrowful was he when he returned alone to old Bergen. It was late when his foot touched the shore and took the path towards the forest. On his way there met him a man in a red tunic. Is it you, Manus? Come back again, asked he. It is I, answered Manus. Alone have I returned from the land of Lochlan. Arhar, the man eyed him silently for a moment, and then he said, I dreamed that you were girt with a sword and became king of Lochlan. But Manus answered, Kalna Sanapachikun, I will give you a new sword if you will make me a promise, said the man once more.
To be sure I will make it, if ever I am king, answered Manus. But speak and tell me what promise I am to make.
I was your grandfather's armorer, replied the man, and I wished to be your armorer also. That I will promise readily, said Manus, and followed the man into his house, which was at a little distance. But the house was not like other houses, for the walls of every room were hung so thick with arms that you could not see the boards. Choose what you will, said the man, and Manus unhooked a sword and tried it across his knee, and it broke, and so did the next and the next. Leave off breaking the swords, cried the man, and look at this old sword and helmet and tunic that I wore in the wars of your grandfather. Perhaps you may find them of stouter steel. And Manus bent the sword thrice across his knee, but he could not break it. So he girded it to his side and put on the old helmet. As he fastened the strap, his eye fell on a cloth flapping outside the window. Unto, what cloth is that? Asked he. It is a cloth that was woven by the little people of the forest, said the man. And when you are hungry, it will give you food and drink. And if you meet a foe, he will not hurt you, but will stoop and kiss the back of your hand in token of submission. Take it and use it well. Manus gladly wrapped the shawl round his arm and was leaving the house, when he heard the rattling of a chain blown by the wind. What chain is that? Asked he. The creature who has that chain round his neck need not fear 100 enemies, answered the armorer. And Manus wound it round him and passed on into the forest. Suddenly there sprang out from the bushes 2 lions, and a lion cub with them. The fierce beasts bounded towards him, roaring loudly, and would fain have eaten him. But quickly Manus stooped and spread the cloth upon the ground. At that the lions stopped, and bowing their great heads, kissed the back of his wrist and went their ways. But the cub rolled itself up in the cloth. So Manus picked them both up and carried them with him to Old Bergen. Another year went by, and then he took the lion cub and set forth to the land of Lochlum. And the wife of Eveled came to meet him, and a brown dog, small but full of courage, came with her. When the dog beheld the lion cub, he rushed towards him, thinking to eat him. But the cub caught the dog by the neck and shook him, and he was dead. And the wife of Eveled mourned him sore, and her wrath was kindled. And many times she tried to slay Manus and his cub, but she could not. And at last they too went back to Old Bergen, and the 12 foster brothers went also. Let them go, said the wife of Earej, when she heard of it. My brother the Red Grag, we take the head of Manus, as well in Orog Begarak as elsewhere. Dukaroga Kindai. Now these words were carried by a messenger, the wife of Oriel, and she made haste and sent a ship to Old Bergen to bear away her son, before the Red Grudger should take the head of him. And in the ship was a pilot. But the wife of Ialain made a thick fog to cover the face of the sea, and the rowers could not row, lest they should drive the ship onto a rock. And when night came, the lion cub, whose eyes were bright and keen, stole up to Manus, and Manus got on his back, and the lion cub sprang ashore and bade Manus rest on the rock and wait for him. So Manus slept, and by a voice sounded in his ears, saying, Arise. And he saw a ship in the water beneath him, and in the ship sat the lion cub in the shape of the pilot. Well, they sailed away from the fog, and none saw them. And they reached the land of Lochlan. And the lion cub, with a chain round his neck, sprang from the ship, and Manus followed after. And the lion cub killed all the men that guarded the castle, and Yarled and his wife also, so that in the end Manus, son of Oiral, was crowned king of Lochlan.